Good morning, dear professors, dear chairman, and the members of the State Attestation Commission, as well as postgraduate students. Let me start today's master's dissertation defense. The chairman of State Attestation Commission, Doctor of Philosophy on Philological Sciences, Arzieva Bibisanem, the deputy of State Attestation Commission, Doctor of Philosophy on Alanbergen Olimpas Hasanbayevich, head of the Master Department of Karakalpak State University. The member of State Attestation Commission, candidate of Pedagogical Sciences, Associate Professor Kurbambayev Javad Aminbayevich, Dean of the Faculty of Foreign Languages of Karakalpak State University, Doctor of Philosophy on Philological Sciences, Joldasova Galfar Baterovna, Associate Professor, Head of English Linguistics Department of Karakalpak State University, Candidate of Philological Sciences, Hadjieva Dilbar Tajimuratovna, Associate Professor of English Linguistics Department of Karakalpak State University. So now it's time to announce postgraduate students. So our first graduate is Nurahimova Aygul Bahtiyarovna. Yes? She's absent. And your name? Kazbekova Eleonora Parakhatovna. And with scientific work глаголы со значением разрушать в семантическом аспекте английского языка. And the scientific advisor is candidate of Philological Sciences, Kubelsinova Dametgen Tursunbayevna. Okay, I'm sorry. Candidate of Philological Sciences, Mamurbayeva Dina Shaksabayevna. You're welcome.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Eleonora Kazbekova, and my dissertation work is about verbs with the meaning of destruction in English in semantic aspects. So modern linguistics study of the topological characteristic of semantic universals is extremely relevant. One of the most important semantic features is to study metaphorical meaning from the position of ambiguity makes it possible to detect both general patterns and development of the vocabulary of a language and pronounced features in the evolution of the vocabulary of different languages. So the actuality of the theme of the work and its relevance due to the growing interest in the semantic classification of verbs in metaphor, as well as the need for a comparative analysis of the metaphorical meanings developed by verbs in two different system languages in order to identify universal and specific features. Next, please. The object of our work is English verbal themes, the semantics of which reflects the process of destruction. The subject of research is the semantic features of the verbs of this group, as well as their balance properties. Next, please. The aim of the work is to identify the semantic structure and balance features of verbs with the meaning of destruction in modern English. Tasks is to consider the verb as a part of speech and give it semantic classification, characterize the semantics of the verb, to analyze the categorical features of verbs with the meaning of destruction, and analyze verbs with the meaning of destruction in terms of their balances and actualization in speech. Okay, the scientific novelty is as follows, as you can see. First one is the classification of verbs, and the categorization of verbs of destruction in English has been carried out. The next one, comparative analysis of the verb of destruction in English and Russian has been carried out. Main problems and hypotheses of the work is a study of semantic lexical meaning of verbs of destruction in English when compared with the Russian language can be obtained by combining traditional views with cognitive ones. Specifying the meanings of verbs and their relationships can help distinguish some verbs with others in contextual usage in various texts. The methodological basis of issue is about the decrease of president of our country, Shavkat Mirziyoyev, about professional training and basic research in the field of methodology of foreign languages. The methods used in the research, we try to analyze, compare, and we try to use qualitative and quantitative methods in our work. Next. Theoretical importance of the research is that the conducted research can serve as basis for further in-depth study of the vocabulary of semantic group of verbs, representing the frame of destruction in the context of frame semantics. And the practical importance is about the results which we can use in our teaching methods in our work. And now I would like to tell about the verb as a part of speech and its semantic classification. First of all, verb is a traditional regarded as a class of words next in importance to the noun. And there are fewer verbs than nouns, their nomination is not always distinct. So they may be semantically changeable and sometimes even erased. And during our work with my scientific advisor Dina Mombaeva, we try to analyze ideas and quotations of several foreign and famous linguists. And first of all, I would like to tell about quotation of Vinogradov, who notes about verb as that it is distinguished by the exceptional complexity of its content, the variety of grammatical categories and forms, the richness of paradigmatic and systematic connections. So, in our work, linguists, they identify classification of verbs into two categories. They are morphological and semantic, but the most important one in our work is about the semantic one. Okay, at the present stage of development, Vasilyev identifies three principles classification of verbal vocabulary. They are, first of all, it's denotative. It's also called as semantic. Its approach is characterized by taking into account the verbs of movement, speech, feelings, perception, sound, state. Second one is paradigmatic. It's about verbs with the meaning of state action. For example, active and passive verbs of perception, see, listen, hear, and etc. The last one is syntagmatic. This principle of the classification of semantic plan of the verb is a work of concepts and not a separate type of meaning. Okay, what about metaphor? Definition of metaphor and meanings of the verb break in modern English. First of all, metaphor comes the Greek word metaphora, which means transfer. So it's also called like turn of speech, the use of words and expressions in a figurative sense of the basis. So in next slides, you can see several examples connected with the word break in modern English. First one, as you can see here, break into parts. It's also like in destroy. In Russian, it will be ломать, разбивать на части, разрушать. For example, Tom fell through the windows, breaking the glass. Том выпал из окна, разбив стекло. It's also like as a word destruction with a meaning. Next, please. Next one, example, break up, collapse. As you can see here, it's collapsed plan. Разламывается, разрушается in Russian language. For example, the plane broke into 3 pieces. Самолет разломился на 3 части. Next example, cause a fracture. It's also like a destruction. Bones вызывать перелом кости. И типа подобное. Next, please. Next example, violate. It also has a meaning of destruction. Order, uniformity, continuity. Нарушать порядок, единообразие, непрерывность. Next one, ruin. It's also the verb of destruction. Разорять. Paying for the house will just about tricky. Плата за дом практически разорение. I tried to put some examples also in English and Russian because we tried to compare 2 kinds of languages, English and Russian. And I put with a translation of Russian language. Okay, next.
Don't need translation.
Okay, sorry.
Clear.
Okay.
Just give analysis.
Okay. Synonymic series of verbs of destruction. Also here you can see the verbs abolish, exterminate, extinguish, extirpate, eradicate, adulterate, liquidate. To get rid of someone who may be a threat by killing. These all verbs, they have meaning of destruction. They are synonyms. Okay, we also tried to put an example from a novel. Here you can see bloody, battered, and dispirited as the sudden banners that dripped from poles beside the officers' wizards. Trance, they sat or sprawled on wet earth. Donovan learns of death, one from their bronze Prince Murray, slain in battle by a friend called and red. Once again, the author uses this stylistically colored verb of destruction to convey the feeling of losing. Here, the verb slain, a loved one, and Donovan's desire to avenge his brother. Also, the brothers were not very close. The death of his friend made him feel sad. So, next. Verbs denoting its destructive effect to the numerous and diverse lexical category of verbs of specific actions, which hasn't been studied enough. We have known during our research about that there are 300 such verbs in English language which hasn't been studied till nowadays. So they may be destroy, destruction, killing, destroy, ruin, defeat, kill, destroy, ruin, destruction. Here you can see that one verb has several types of synonymical meanings, which is each other. So next. So my work is connected with the verbs of destruction, and so the subject of destruction can be a person, animals, natural phenomena, substances. The objects can be a person or a group of persons, animals or plants, buildings or other concrete objects of surrounding reality, natural objects and substances. Okay, next please. The regular metaphorical meanings developed destruction verbs in English can also be divided into 3 classes. First one is the vocabulary from the books. For example, exoriate, its meaning form or criticize someone severally. Rent, literally cause great emotional pain to. Erect and rent also use, it's from poetic book. So next one, belonging to colloquial vocabulary. Beat, bite, bump, clip, crack. These are all verbs are about destruction. The last one is interstitial metaphorical meanings in English. Batter, beat, defeat, belabor, bend, with the definitions here. They are also about destruction and hurting someone or something. So next one. Here you can see English and Russian destruction verbs with the translation and with variety kinds of verbs. Hit, punch, slap, smite, strike, swipe, thump, whack, slap, collide, crash, batter, clobber, pound. These are verbs we found from Macmillan vocabulary and also from Oxford vocabulary and Cambridge vocabulary. We searched in any kind of foreign kind of dictionaries these verbs. Okay, next, with the value of pressure, one word pressure has these synonymic variations. In English, crush, green, trample, crush, mash, squish, press, squeeze, crumple. These all have the meaning of pressure. With the meaning of burning, scorch, sear, sieve, burn. With a translation from Russian, destruction verbs in Russian includes 101 lexemes, in English 133 lexemes. In conclusion, we decided to say that as a result of the study, we determined that in both languages, verbs with the primary meaning of destruction develop regular metaphorical meanings. Okay? I wish you an enjoyable day and thank you for your attention.
So, I have two questions here about the metaphorization of the word Greek in modern English. First one, then I wanted to know about verb restoration, Greek, verb Greek in colloquial speech. How they are used?
In colloquial speech, yes?
Yes.
Okay. As my dissertation topic is due to distraction verbs, and especially we put the verb break, it's also like a distraction to hurt someone. That's all. That's why in colloquial speech we use the synonymic version like hurt, kill, or like cut, and that's why we can use this verb in anywhere, and it's also like how to say, maybe hurt someone. Also we can use metaphorical sites to compare or with some meanings, or to make the meaning more understandable and variety.
Examples, please.
Examples, okay.
From colloquial speech, if you have observed some videos or colloquial speech of English.
For example, Tom hurt my feeling when I was very sad. Or Sam broke his leg because of his maybe actions.
There are no other questions on Greek?
There are several and a lot of versions.
This is a semantic meanings that you are. Well, metaphorization. Process metaphorization. Second question.
Metaphorization is
Of the word Greek.
yes, of the word break. It's like for example, break into two pieces. It's like to make one thing into two parts. And here we can use metaphor to make it more, how to say, mystery or fantastic. And here it may have primary meaning with the meaning of destroy.
Thank you.
May I add something? I'm very grateful, first of all, for God that I'm studying here and I'm studying master's degree. And second one, I'm very grateful for my parents for their supporting and for you, my lovely teachers, for your supports. Thank you for helping.
The reviews for this dissertation were given by Doctor of Philosophy on Philological Sciences, Hüseyin Bogumira, and the candidate of Philological Sciences, Sican Şıtkırgı. They both gave positive reviews and they recommended this scientific work for defense. So we'll turn to next. Our next postgraduate student is Babasheva Bighanım Azamatova. Yes? And her scientific work is structure and the types of language situation as for the emergence of bilingualism. Yes? And the scientific advisor is a candidate of philological sciences, associate professor Nurmbetova Gülayim Anatuna.
Good morning, teachers and everybody. Good morning, students as well. So I am Babasheva Bighanım. Now I want to introduce my research work that is called Structure and Types of Language Condition and Language Situation for the Emergence of Bilingualism. You know that bilingualism means two languages, which one person uses two language in society. Okay. This research works consists of introduction, 3 chapters, conclusion, and bibliography. Today, I want to start from the aim of my research work. The aim is to study sociolinguistic aspects of bilingualism, especially I want to speak more about Uzbek-Russian bilingualism at the phonetic, lexical, semantic, and grammatical levels, and their structure as well as their types. The actuality is to be the functional distribution of a particular type of bilingualism, which leads to the education within the framework of given society. The object is to be the non-context bilingualism as a social-linguistic phenomenon. And the subject is the processes of interference at the phonetic, lexical, semantic, and grammatical levels. Okay, now in the first chapter, I want to tell more about problems of bilingualism in modern society. In the chapter 2, in the second chapter, I want to outline the theoretical aspects and the approaches to the modern bilingualism in our society. And in chapter 3, I have taken some examples for the problems of bilingualism in Uzbekistan. And types of interference here I've taken, and grammatical levels as well. So the practical significance of the research work is the results that can be used in our writing term papers, qualifying papers, or the papers that uses in seminars and other places for education. So here are some special tasks I've given. The first one is to investigate linguistic and social linguistic situations for the formation of bilingualism. And the second, to identify factors and determine the scope use of bilingualism in Uzbekistan. And also comparing Uzbek-Russian bilingualism with the nature Russian bilingualism. And the third one is to analyzing social functions and direct contacts with Uzbek-speaking ethnic groups. And the fourth, the last task is to identify the types and forms of interference that we use in our society. Okay, what is bilingualism itself? Bilingualism is two languages. That is mean two language defined as a speaker's ability to use these two language in society, in community. Also, now here I want to tell about Weinreich next page. Uriel Weinreich, that was a main that was worked the fundamental aspect for bilingualism. In his book Language Contexts, he claimed about bilingualism more than other scientists and other linguists. He expressed that idea bilingualism can be subordinate, composite, and coordinative. There are main three types. They are, the first one is composite bilingualism, the second one is coordinate, and the third one is subordinate. And he claimed that these three types of three types of bilingualism are like the first one, like subordinated bilingualism, is the mixed one, is a mixed bilingualism. In other words, imperfective. In this case, a person cannot speak the one language naturally. It means that with mistakes they can speak, but the person can speak two languages, but with mistakes. And the second one is coordinated bilingualism. This is the clear, perfect bilingualism. It means that person can speak two languages naturally and without mistakes and clearly. And the third one is subordinated. That is also called coordinated. This is also clear two languages when speaker uses these two languages perfectly, and also they can use in a formal places, for example, in a writing term papers or writing qualification papers. And the second language can be used in casual or everyday life. This one is called subordinated or coordinated type of bilingualism. More than 100 years have passed since the Uzbek language and the Russian language coexisted together in the formation of Soviet Union. Here I've taken examples from that period. There is table that I've taken some examples here. For example, the word in Russian word «короче», оно на самом деле должно было быть «короче», а узбеки, значит, мы используем их как Okay. Uzbek people, when the formation of the Soviet Union, Uzbek people use the word "karoche" with mistake. This is not called like mistake. It is called interference. So the meaning is in short, but we call it karochi. In Russian, it must be karoche. And other examples here I've given. For example, the word davnim davno, davnim davna. Uzbek people use it like davnim davna. The perfect and clear word must be davnim davno in Russian. So it means before and long ago. And there are also a lot of examples here we can see. And so next. The next. Now I want to turn. There is also the part like part theme or part of bilingualism. That is called diglossia. Diglossia is a situation in which two dialects or languages are used by a single language community. This is diglossia is a special type. It's considered to be a special type of bilingualism, meaning that a state of being bilingual. It is a situation when community uses two languages or two variety of one language for different situations. For example, one is used for casual everyday interaction, like a dialect, and the next and second one is used as a standard language. That is mostly used in official purposes. So the first one is also called like high variety, low variety of bilingualism. The second one is called also high variety of bilingualism. Diglossia is mostly used in Arabic countries because they have two varieties of one language. Their formal Arabic language is used in official purposes, and next second low variety type used in everyday life in between among peoples of their society. So, in conclusion, I want to say that current situations of bilingualism is the result of inter-civilization and modern society's need. For this need, this bilingualism can be learned. So thank you for attention.
Can you give examples which the Uzbek people use bilingualism in
Official purposes, yeah. No, they cannot use because in our society the official language is Uzbek and Karkalpak language. For this, that is used for official purposes. These languages, but bilingualism, it's like an interference. They have, if we use Russian bilingualism, Russian language in this kind of purposes, they have mistakes, as we can say, interference, so that we cannot use.
We cannot use.
Yes, in official, for official purposes.
What about the borrowing words?
If this kind of word, for example, computer, this is the borrowing word, so that we can use this kind of word, but it is not called bilingualism. The bilingualism, the word that we use for casual and everyday life, for everyday interaction. So that this kind of words are not bilingualism. If it is borrowing word or the word that there is no translation, then we can use.
We can use in addition.
Yes.
Questions? And the reviewers for this master's dissertation are Doctor of Philosophy on Philological Sciences, Abdullah Mahsud, and the candidate of Philological Science, Seyit Badamegul. And both of them gave positive reviews on this scientific work and then allowed it to defend. So our next defender is Jambulova Aymhan Darbay with their work Verbalization of Cultural Concepts in Literary Texts, and the scientific advisor is candidate of Philological Sciences, Hajri Badribar Tajimuradovna, Associate Professor of English Linguistics Department of Karagabag State University.
Good morning, dear teachers and the members of commission. Today I'm going to tell you about verbalization of cultural concepts in literary texts. So, first of all, I want to start my presentation with a quotation by Rita Maya Brown. Language is a road map of a culture. It tells you where its people come from and where they are going. So, as you can see, language and culture are interrelated and very important in teaching foreign language. My dissertation work consists of 3 chapters with introduction and conclusion, and also bibliography. First of all, the object of this dissertation work is cultural concepts and their verbalization in literary texts. The subject of the dissertation work is thematic syntactic structure, their cultural, historical, and structural features. The main aim of my work is to investigate cultural concepts and their verbalization in literary texts. In order to achieve main aims, there are some tasks to put forward. First of all, to define the notion of the concept, and to identify conceptualization, to identify linguo-cultural approach, and to analyze the concept friendship in different English literary works. So, my first chapter is about theoretical framework of my research. A special role in language research is currently played by such a branch of modern linguistics as linguoculturology. Cultural linguistics is a young linguistic discipline that took shape in the 90s of the 20th century as a result of the interaction of linguistics with other related disciplines such as cultural studies, ethnography, and ethnology. The term cultural linguistics appeared in connection with the works of Telia, Varoviev, Agutyunova, Maslova. This direction is developing within the framework of an inherently anthropocentric cognitive approach to language. The tasks of this discipline include the study and the description of the relationship between language and culture, language and ethnicity, language and folk mentality. And this subject was created on the basis of the triad, language, culture, and human personality. At the same time, language acts as a means of interpreting human culture, the mentality of the nation. So, how would you interpret the concept as the concept of everyday philosophy, the result of some factors such as national tradition, folklore, ideology, religion, and other factors. So it depends on the religion, on the culture. So the verbalization of concepts differs in different in different cultures. So next, the concise dictionary of cognitive terms states that the concept serves to explain the mental and the mental resources of the human consciousness. The term concept is used to denote a mental image by a lexical unit. So Wierzbicka considers the concept as an object from the realm of the idol. On this basis, he argues that in the mind of different people, the same lexical unit is different, can represent different concepts. It's also proposed to distinguish between the concept minimum and the concept maximum. So first of all, the concept minimum. The concept minimum, which implies the incomplete knowledge of the meaning of the word, and the concept maximum is which implies the complete knowledge of the meaning of the words by an ordinary native speaker. So the concept has a number of properties. Firstly, a concept is a mental representation that reflects the relationship of things to each other. And the second one, the concepts are idle images. And the third one, a concept is denoted by a word. So Likachev claims that for each individual concept, there is a separate dictionary meaning. According to Lyapin, the concept is based on a conceptual basis, which is fixed in the meaning of a sign, a scientific term, a word, or a vocabulary of an ordinary language. Thus, the author does not limit the concept to the framework of the lexicogrammatical structure. Each concept does not necessarily correspond to a specific lexical unit because there are discrepancies between a thought and a word. Slishkin, one of the linguists, derives the following characteristics of the concept. First one, the complexity of its existence, because a lingual cultural concept is a mental unit aimed at the comprehensive study of language, consciousness, and also culture. And the mental nature, its value, and also its variability, polyapplicability. For the most complete understanding of the nature of the concept, it's important to distinguish the elements of the concept. So the conceptual model was introduced by Mikhalchuk, and to build a conceptual model is very important because it is used to identify the elements of the concept and also the relationship between the components of the concept. So the concept has three main elements. First one is it is value component. It's very important. It is central in the study of the concept because the study of culture is based on a value principle, and the concept serves the study of the culture. And the next one, it is conceptual component. Conceptual component is stored in mind in verbal form, and it is opposed to figurative component, non-verbal form of the language, of the lexical units. And in the conceptual element of the concept, Stepanov singles out three main layers. First one, the active layer. The active layer, which includes the main actual feature known to every bearer of culture and significant to him. At this level, the concept is included both in the communication and also in thought processes. And the next layer is the passive layer. In the passive layer, only one or the same lexics is only important to individual groups of people, only some specific groups of people in society. And the next one is its inner form, and this form is not important in society, and it is unconscious in everyday life, but it's very important to specialists who study the concept of a linguistic unit. So the different authors gave their opinion on this concept by different their opinions. And my next chapter is about linguocultural approach and also is some analysis of the concept friendship from different English literary works. So in the second chapter, linguocultural approach. So what is linguocultural approach? Linguocultural approach is used to study the difference between language and culture, their interrelationships. It's very important in teaching foreign language because in teaching foreign language, it's very important to teach students with their cultural background. So it's very important to develop their background knowledge because then language and culture is interrelated with each other. When society develops, when culture develops, it is what's also change and their language also develop with their culture. So Rogers Cesaros allows us to consider some actively used tokens with the connection of the concept friendship. First one, friendship is friendship has some components. First of all, friendship is friends bring peace to our lives, so we feel not lonely when we have friends. Having friends is very important in our lives. For example, William Blake said one of his literary works. When I was angry, I told my rose. I was angry with my friends. I told my rose did end. I was angry with my foe. It told me not, my rose did grow. As you know, from this example, when we have friends, all our sorrows will pass, and when we are angry, we tend to talk to our loved ones, and the anger will come down. And next component of the concept friendship is friendship communication. So friendly communication is very important for all ages of people in society. We communicate with each other, we have fun with our friends, and we share our problems with them. Without a friend, one cannot imagine their life. So, one of the poets, George Herbert, said, "Life without a friend is like death without a witness." So, friendship is very important. And next component of the concept friendship is about friendship similarities. Friends are very similar to each other because they share common interests with each other. That's why disputes do not arise, and they come to agreement while they talk to each other. That's why agreement is very important in friendship. One of the famous known writers wrote about this. And next one is about friendship knowledge. So what is friendship knowledge is about when we meet first people, we try to get to know each other. First of all, we get to know about each other, we get information from each other, and then we become friends. That's why it is very related to the knowledge. And the next, friendship and enemy. So friendship and enemy are opposite to each other. We have friends and also we have enemies. So that's why friendship enemies is also one of the components of the concept friendship. And in the next chapter, I analyzed the concept friendship in modern English literary texts because they differ from each other. In modern English literary texts, there are some components of the friendship that has get into passive layer and that get into active layer of the concept. Firstly, friendship in the old usage, friend, for example, true friends and close friends. In modern English literary works, especially the close friends are mostly used, but in the old literary works, we come across the word true friends. So, and also nowadays, find friends, making friends is very easy nowadays, but in the old usage, it's very difficult. For example, Henry Adams wrote in his work about this. One friend in a lifetime is much. Two are many. Three are hardly possible. And from this extract, we can see that in the old usage, the word friend, finding a friend is very difficult. But nowadays, for example, one of these extract, you can see that nowadays it's very easy to make friends. For example, uh, nowadays in our society, people treat each other with their appearance, age and their clothes. Love is what matters. These 19 people are my best friends. And as you can see from this literary extract, you can see for this author, the expression 19 people is not strange because nowadays it's very easy and the phrase best friend, the word best friend is used in plural forms nowadays. And then the next one, dear friend and pleasant friend. So in the old usage, dear friend is very important because we love them and we rely on them, we count on them, we love them. They are very closer to us. But nowadays, it is also weakened. It has also weakened, and it got into passive layer because nowadays we only have friends to make our friends funny and pleasant. That's why the meaning of the friendship of this concept has also changed over the centuries. So analysis of the material allows us to conclude that the concept friendship has changed over the centuries. For example, the Webster dictionaries includes the Webster dictionaries. It is an older dictionary, and the Webster dictionary states that the friendship as nobility, sincerity, mutual aid, and constancy. But in the modern English dictionaries, we can see that friendship is described as with one with which we to have a good time. So we are very pleased to have fun with them. So have analyzed the verbalization of cultural concepts in literary texts. We have come to conclusion that linguoculturology is very important in studying the concept and in teaching foreign languages. And by analyzing all these materials, we can see that sociocultural processes are all world processes, and culture develops, and also at the same time, language also develops. So thank you for your attention.
So what is the difference between concept and conceptual sphere?
Concept is a mental image by a lexical unit, and the conceptual sphere is a direction of the concept to study it.
Is the topic actual?
Yes, of course, because nowadays cultures are nowadays the society are developing, and that's why we easily connect with other cultures. And also in learning foreign languages, cultural background knowledge is very important.
You have analyzed the concept of friendship in English culture, yeah?
Yes,
What
in
about
English
our
modern culture, in English society, yes.
What about in our culture?
In our culture,
Friendship, yeah.
also in our culture, I think the concept of dear friend, beloved friends has a bit changed. But nowadays, they only make friends for their maybe. Yes.
Okay. Did you analyze the Karakal Park or Uzbek literary text, the concept of friendship from this literary text? except English.
Not only in English it works. Yes.
It's not object.
Only English.
Next page, dissertation. English and
Thank you very much. Thank you for your attention.
So the reviewers of this scientific work are a candidate of philological science, Murat İnce Murat, associate professor of Karakalpak State University, and then doctor of philosophy on philological sciences, Shalvas Nurjan. Both of them gave positive reviews of this scientific work and pointed out that this work deserves a high mark. Okay. So our next postgraduate student is Turasheva Shahnoza Abibayevna with scientific work İngiliz, Özbek ve Karakalpak dillerde insan duyguları ifadelenişini konseptual tahlili. The scientific advisor is Associate Professor of Karakalpak State University, Gayliyeva Oğlay, Doctor of Science.
Good morning, dear members of jury. Today I'm going to present my dissertation paper on the topic the conceptual assumption of human feelings in Uzbek, English, and Karakalpak languages. And the actuality of the dissertation paper consists of introduction, 3 chapters, and content and bibliography. The actuality of the investigation, the conceptual assumption of the expression of human feelings in Uzbek, Karakalpak, and English languages is important because it highlights the cultural and linguistic differences in how emotions are expressed and understood. Additionally, understanding the nuances of emotional expression in different languages can promote empathy and cross-cultural understanding, which are important for building relationships and promoting positive interactions between people from different backgrounds. So, the subject of the research. The subject of the research is feelings, emotions, and their expression. And the object of the research is English, Uzbek, and Karakalpak people, the way they express their emotions, varieties and similarities of their emotions. The aim of the research. The aim of the research is to study the terminological analysis of emotions, comparative analysis, and terms related to feelings, and analysis of cultural and historical factors that shape the meanings and values of these terms in their respective cultures. So, task of the master's qualification paper. I underlined 4 tasks. First of all, to show the history and peculiarities of Uzbek, Karakalpak, and English cultures. Second one, to prove using examples the importance of emotions that is inherent in our nationality and their use in the classroom. And the third one, to define the teachers, students' feelings and emotions in the classroom. And the fourth one is to create a friendly relationship between teachers and students in the classroom. The main problems. The main problem and hypothesis leading to defense. Positive emotional teaching method will be significantly high in English retention than negative and neutral teaching methods. The hypothesis has been accepted that positive emotional teaching has significantly high English retention than negative and neutral emotional teaching method. So, methodological basis on the issue. Methodological basis of the issue are the decrees of the President of Republic of Uzbekistan about teaching, education and science, the national program on professional training, and etc. the methods used in the research. In the process of writing the study was used comparative, historical classification, in the analysis of comparative typological methods, scientific and practical significance of the research paper. The results of the study can be used in the creation of textbooks, manuals, on the conducting lectures, including English, and organizing special courses and seminars for bachelors. Next page, please. And as I mentioned, my dissertation paper consists of 3 chapters. First of all, the theoretical part, the definition and concept of human feelings and emotions. What are feelings? The term feelings can refer to physical or emotional experiences. The sensation of pain, warmth, or cold describes physical phenomena. Sensations like comfort, fear, and happiness describe what they experience. Understanding feelings is an essential part of human experience. Why? Because feelings impact how we perceive our entire experience. Our feelings help us identify what is going on inside. They are the body's way of communicating how we are experiencing the world. And what are emotions? Emotions are the reactions that human beings experience in response to events or situations. And what's the difference between emotions and feelings? Imagine that you get the present. First of all, you may be surprised. It's an emotion. And then some people may be ashamed or get content. It's feeling of content. So, next page, please. The role of emotions in the classroom. As we know, we have positive emotions and negative emotions. Why the emotions are important in the classroom? We have 2 reasons. First one, emotions have an impact on learning and student. They influence the ability of students to process information in actual way and to accurately understand what we think. And the second reason is, for example, we will have students that are anxious or frustrated, and to deal with them, we should know the emotions and how to deal with them. And the second chapter of my qualification paper is dedicated to motivation and emotion during professional development. Motivation is another concept that is emphasized in the profession of teaching and in emotional intelligence. Motivation can be defined as a driving force which is used by individuals to reach some goals or to meet some expectations and requirements. And it has an important role in terms of personal performance and organizational performance. Therefore, several studies can be found in the literature on the relationship between motivation and job satisfaction, performance, communication, and personal management. There are studies that examine the relationship between teachers, motivation, and various underline the importance of intrinsic motivation of teachers. So, next. Examples of conceptual assumption of the expression of human feelings in English, Uzbek, and Karakalpak languages. English people speak directly. They express their emotions in direct way. They also use